unmute myself. There we go. That's the one. How are we doing? Okay, it's a good start. Let's see if I can get this working again. A few things must have changed since I did this last. Why can I not see the chat on my screen? Why is it not there? I can see it on my screen, not on my stream screen. I don't know why. Thank you to you guys who have jumped in here. Extremely spur of the moment, sporadic. I'm going to spend another few seconds trying to get this chat window to work. Should be on the screen. Ah. Who's behind the camera? Cool. Well, I enjoyed the last stream I did, however long it was ago. And I also said that I would do more. And then I didn't do another one again for a while. If you guys wouldn't mind letting me know what the volume's like. It looks fine. I might be a bit loud actually, my voice. Let's turn it down. Also the music, it's supposed to just be background. Not really supposed to listen to it per se. Let's go back to this one. What I thought I would do with this evening is have a little chat for a bit. Volume's fine, thank you. And maybe write a bit of code. I don't know. I haven't done an awful lot of coding this week, actually. I've been doing more Go. I quite enjoy Go. I think because it's so different to Python. I think that's why I like it. Also, I like the freedom, I think, to... I'm not sure that's the right way of describing it. Hello from Ukraine. Wow. Hello, my friend. I hope you are doing well. And you and your friends and family are safe. Yeah. One thing I was looking at doing is sharing a few video ideas that I've got. Go C++ performance. I like the fact that if you're doing it, it should all be the same. There's just such a hard format and standard. It all should be like that. But you also have to write your own stuff from the ground up, which means you have the control, so you can actually know exactly what you've done, which is good and bad, as opposed to relying on code other people have written, like Python packages. But you have to write an awful lot more. Found that out. Like if you compare just trying to get some kind of just a few requests made off to just a simple API, it's a bit more to it, but I quite like that. Right. I feel like I might start the code for what could be a project. We'll see. I feel like that should be quite straightforward. I thought Go was just always asynchronous, to say, for lack of a better term. But I haven't got as far as Go routines yet in my Go learning. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get there. See how it goes. Python async hard enough. Getting your head around it and trying to get it to work properly. All right. Oh, I need the. Let me try this. Get this back, please. There we go. You can go over here. Squash you guys down. Oh. Move it. There we are. Can you tell I make videos and don't live stream? Wait till you try and see me live coding. Hello, Mar. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the channel. It's been a wild ride, YouTube, for me, especially over the last couple of months. I can go story time before I I'm sure you guys don't follow my channel statistics as closely as me. I will look at the damn thing all the time, and as much as people will tell you not to worry, not to concentrate on it too much, yeah, it's a thing, right? But one of my videos that I made like a year ago got it just I didn't change anything. I didn't change the title, I didn't change the thumbnail. It had been doing consistently quite well, and last month it got 180,000 views just from nothing. I have no idea why, and that's as cool as that is, also really scary because it just makes you feel like you have no control. And if you're trying to do this for like full-time income, then you really can't rely on it. Speedy Bird, yeah, no worries, man. I enjoyed that. I work with Shopify all the time, so literally as soon as I worked out how to do all that stuff, I just threw something together to make my life easier. That's where a lot of my video ideas come from. It comes from the fact that I did it for myself, or I learned it, so I want to share it. Can you show some real world project that clients ask you from, or just explain in short words? Yeah. They usually want everything, which is to be expected. Let's be honest, if you're trying to get data off the internet to do just a few things is pretty simple. The difficulty comes when, trying to get the monitor up. The difficulty comes when you're trying to scale it up, and that's where people want help, which is why there's so many like resources and paid places, I guess. So yeah, basically think of any kind of data extraction from the main sites, but scale it up to the fact that they want everything and all the information and everything, and they want it often. So yeah, that's about it really. Hello from Spain. Hello Bliss, how are you, man? Hate to be too much of a Brit and talk about the weather, but it was hot here. It must have been damn hot in Spain. I got a job scraping about 7 months ago. You've been an invaluable resource. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised really, because it's such a tiny. It felt like and feels like such a tiny niche. I'm surprised, A, that so many people have watched my videos, and B, it's got this far. I expected it to die a long time ago, to be honest. Although I do enjoy making videos, I think I would always like to have some description. Yeah, thanks. Always always more and more coming. I have like I have time periods where I'm sure like most like creatives, I suppose. Well, I'm particularly creative. I can't think of anything. I just sit there and it's like, I've got no idea what my next video is going to be like. And sometimes you feel like, oh, I've really got to get one out, just because either, to be honest, it's sponsored, or you want to keep the ball rolling. And there are other times where I literally sit down and I bang out like 5 or 6 proper video ideas with prospective titles and everything like that, and it's really good. Then you have to then turn them into something that's watchable. That's the hard part. I think I've had like bad ideas that I've executed well, and then really good ideas that I've executed poorly, which has meant low views. Do you use any freelancing platform like Upwork? No, I don't like those. It feels like race to the bottom. Although, like, if you turn out to be one of the few people that can make it work, then sure, yeah. But I found it really difficult. I used it for a bit. I was making videos for another company, tutorial style videos, and did it through Upwork, which was fine, and I had no problems with it. I'd rather, to be honest, at one point I was rather it didn't go through Upwork, but then you had all of that. I got paid on time, put my hours in, no problem. So, but I've not really successfully done much through them. Just please don't do programming memes and how to. Yeah, I hate those videos too. Yeah, I don't like those ones. My favorite programming content creator at the moment is the Primogen. He's like a good mix of over the top. He also is 100%. He lives and breathes. He works in the industry. Has done for ages. He knows everything. So that's really cool. What's your content on Patreon like? It's at the moment all I do really is just give early access to the videos. I really wanted to do more with Patreon, but I find it difficult to have the time at the moment. I still work full time. I do YouTube. So yeah, But thanks to the people that are on my Patreon, of course, that have contributed. It's really helpful. It pays for basic tools that I use to do this, which is really, really grateful, which I am really, really grateful for. Thank you, David. Congrats on the great content. Thank you very much. Do you have a plan making video of hosting your script? Do you mean like running it, hosting it as in putting it on the cloud server? Is that what you mean? What's up? What's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for joining. Is there a way to earn? Yeah, there is, and I do. I get asked this. I get asked this a lot. I think I get more because my clients they come directly to me because of this channel basically, which is great, which is a great byproduct of it. It would never be a full-time thing, but what I always say to people that ask me that is, I think that for people that are learning Python, web scraping is a really good place to start, because you can build really small projects with it that can do something for you, even if it's just like emailing yourself something from a small piece of data from a website or something like that, and you can really build up a good skill set. And it's all web-based, which, you know, I don't care for programming that doesn't go on the web. It's not really interested in it. I haven't got any use. If I was like, you know, professional developer, I'd probably write for myself some scripts to help me out that. But at the moment, I do that. It's all just web stuff. So I think it'll give you a good skill set, but you won't be able to rely on it. It's just not. It's one of those things. It's like to do the basics is easy, relatively speaking, but with that comes a lot of people that can do the easier jobs, which makes it difficult to get going. Hello, I've missed some chat. Hang on, Doggo10. How are you? Long time viewer, first time in the stream. Hey, thanks for joining us, man. I wouldn't say it's a massive thing, because this is probably the only, in however many years I've been doing this, 3, 4, just like the 5th stream. So you're lucky you managed to catch me. I should really do more. Maybe. Yeah, but thanks for joining me, man. That's appreciated. First year of grade school, computer science. Any advice? Oof. Go to school. I don't know. I didn't do it. I didn't. The school didn't work for me, unfortunately. As soon as I got to the required age in this country to not be in education, I didn't. All of the stuff that I've learned is that effectively programming, everything has come within the last, realistically, 5 or 6 years. So I'm 36 now. So basically in my 20s, I did what a typical 20-something-year-old would do. Nothing, really. Have you got a video about data science? Not really. It's a logical step. I totally understand. It's a logical step. I do extremely basic data analysis for my job. It's just not that exciting. I don't know. Doing tutorials I really want to make them interesting to as wide an audience as possible, and I don't actually, unless it's something really specific. Like I've got a few, like my Scrapey Basics is really quite specific, but you know it's there so people are interested. But trying to do like basic data science when I don't really have anything great to contribute is probably going to be not that useful to a lot of people. Do you prefer Splash or Playwright? Bot detection? JS fingerprinting. I don't use Splash anymore, unfortunately. It's not been maintained for ages. So as soon as I found Playwright, I use that solely now. Bot detection is a difficult one. There's a few things you can do. I've got it on my list of videos to create. There's like the stealth plugins, which do help on some sites. Other than that, it's really just a case of trying to find what works for that specific site type thing. I know it probably doesn't sound that good coming from me, but if the site's got too much protection, I just don't bother really. I won't. You can usually find the data somewhere else, or you can do something else, because if it's too difficult to get, you just have to throw so much more money at it, and you've got to really decide whether it's worth it. So you've either got to have someone who's a high pay, willing to pay the money for you, i.e. a client, which I have had, or you move on and try and find it somewhere else. This text is quite hard to read on the screen. Hang on, I'm going to move this over here. Also, turning my head the whole time, which is really bad for me. Right, let me catch up. Hang on. Where did I get to? Splash and Playwright. Oh yeah, Splash has got hasn't been updated, which is really annoying. What I wanted to do for ages was I wanted to run my own Splash instance just so I could have it handy. And I thought, oh yeah, it's great. I'll use it on my Raspberry Pi, but you can't easily because of the architecture, which is a shame. And now it doesn't. I think even if you look through the issues on Splash, it doesn't actually work half the time anymore. What I have done, which I'll probably release in an upcoming video, is just like write a really basic HTTP server that acts like that using Playwright. So you can just send it a URL, it will render the page with Playwright and then send you back a JSON response with the HTML in it as well. And I just run that. If I need to I run it for when I'm testing. So I just run it on my Raspberry Pi on my local network. So I don't have to host it anywhere. And if I need to like say, oh, actually, will this work better if I actually ran a proper browser? I can just send it to that rather than installing Playwright in my project files and getting the browser working, all that stuff. So I'm going to do a video on that as well. Again, trying to make it interesting is the hard part. Yeah. Bootstrap, yeah, I use Bootstrap a lot. Yeah, Bulma's good as well. I like Bulma. I should really move. I really feel like I need to move on to like Tailwind or something, but it's hard. That sort of thing just doesn't really excite me. I just want it to look fine and presentable. I'm not ever going to be a front end guy, really. I tweeted out I had to write some JavaScript for something the other night. It took me forever and I hated it. I couldn't get my head around these bits, and I was just trying to doing that classic thing that beginners do, and just trying to cobble something together to work. But it did work in the end, fortunately. I learned beautiful. Oh, Eddie Tang, I recognize your name. Welcome back, my friend. I learned beautiful super requests. What shall I learn next? I would say, honestly, try Scrapey. Honestly, it's once you get your head around it, it's night and day better. Everything you could think about making for a web scraper that you could write yourself is already been done. It's within Scrapey. So it's amazing. I've done projects where I've initially written it in, if it's just basic HTML using requests on BS4, and I've ended up with like a few hundred lines of code, and it's all been great. And then I thought, well, if I did this in Scrapey, I could have written it in probably half the time, and it would be about 10 lines. I'm catching up, guys. Pure Potato, thank you. Really appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna keep making the content. It's gonna keep coming. It's been doing pretty well on YouTube recently, which I'm really pleased about. I get like an average about 8,000 or 9,000 views a day now, which is just mind blowing for me. And I've just gone over 30k subs as well, which is just I never thought I'd get 10K, to be honest. Still believe in certificates. Yeah. I don't know if that's so prevalent in the UK, to be honest. I think if you can prove, if you've got a decent enough portfolio and you can prove, well, and you can get through the interview, but that's the main part, then I don't think people worry too much about it. So, but that's a shame. I mean, yeah. If that's what I guess you just have to do what you need to do to get to get job ready for your country. Hi Fabrizio. Thank you for joining us. What should be my next step? If you know what I would say, just learn to scale. Learn to scale it as much as you can so you can get as much data as you can. That would be what I would say, but that's the hardest part. So you're going to need some good proxies. Learn about when and how you want to, if you have to render pages, find a service to do it for you so you can scale it easier without having to worry about it. Maybe something like that. Can we use Excel as a database? If you want. Wouldn't recommend it though. Everyone starts with Excel and goes on to SQL databases for a reason. Was Access based on SQL? Does anyone use Access anymore? No idea. Have you ever considered Codfather? No, I don't recognize you, man. I think you're an original. Subscribe for ages. Thank you for that. Have you ever considered being a software engineer or a data scientist? Yeah, not a data scientist. I don't think that's my idea. Where I really want to get to is make content. Basically, I want a DevRel job, which I think is all the rage at the moment. I want to make content and code, so I need developer relations or developer advocate. I don't think my coding's probably up to scratch though. Being self-taught, I've just got too many holes that need that. Like I'm really specialized, so I'm really good at some things, but then other things I'm just not quite. There's holes in my knowledge basically. But the idea would be to get a DevRel job, so I can sit and stream my daily work and make content and stuff like that. Yeah, following you. I know you. I knew. I remember seeing. I'm sure I remember seeing your name pop up, and right near the beginning as a subscriber called Flower. I think I remember it because I think you had more. You had like loads more subs than me, and I was like, oh wow, this is exciting. Thanks for hanging around, man. Steel Tormentors, thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. Advice for people who want to be self-employed recently out of uni. Self-taught also. That's a good question. You definitely want to be self-employed to write code. It's going to be difficult because you need to be able to get clients, and that's the hardest part. I'm not particularly good at that either, to be honest. One area though that I've had exposure to, which I think would be quite good to consider, is companies like have lots of different computer systems and they need them connecting together. So basically taking information from one place and sending it to another. And if you've watched any of my videos, I do a lot of API stuff as well, and that's where that comes from. So basically just pulling data out of one place, and changing it and sticking it to another, which is ETL effectively. But that's pretty cool. But good luck with your journey, man. I've seen people using Access here in Mexico. Wow, cool. I've never used it. Going back to the Excel as a database question, I did use Google Sheets to dump some data in before. Kind of handy, but it's just use a database. SQLite's so easy to use, and you can put it anywhere. It's just one file. Obviously has its limitations though. Oh, there we go. Use a Google Docs API. You guys are ahead of me. Ever thought about making a playlist full-length project? Yeah, I need to tidy up my playlists. They are a mess. They're neglected. I had someone asking me a comment about playlists today as well. I definitely should tidy them up. I've been thinking about doing a full course as well. I don't know though. I know it would be a lot of work, but that's fine because I can plan it out and I can do it over time. I don't know if I'd want to. Here's the thing: I've had really mixed results with trying to learn from like paid courses, and I'm very wary of it, and I wouldn't want to do that to people. Like, obviously, I believe in getting paid to do your work, getting paid for your stuff, but there's just something about some of these video courses and courses that people put out that make me feel a bit I don't want to call it scammy because it's not. Some of them probably are, but I don't know. I don't want to be too critical of people that do them, but for some people, I think it just like feels like a cash grab. I don't know. So maybe I'll do like a full project type thing. I'll just stick it on my channel for people. We'll see. Do I play games? Not anymore. I used to play games a lot. I used to play a lot of Counter-Strike. CS 1.6 though. And after that I played World of Warcraft, which consumed me. If I'd have spent 1/10 of the time learning to code and 9/10 of the time playing WoW, I'd be a pretty awesome developer by now. People ask questions section. Yeah, it should be. I don't think you'll need to use Selenium for that. Website that ends with ASPX. Isn't that ASP.NET? It's just a framework. Microsoft framework. Should be fine. It'll be making API calls, or it'll be rendering a static page, I should imagine. Right, let's talk a little bit more about upcoming videos. Oh, what's the most important Python framework? For what? For web apps? There's only Scrapey for web scraping. For making web applications, I tend to use Django just because it does most of it for you, and I'm really quite into having to write as least code as possible. Although I do see the value in writing it yourself, so you know exactly what's doing it, and you only write what you need, so your app's a lot more streamlined. If you want to learn Python web apps, though, unless it's specifically Django you want, I think starting with Flask is a good idea, because like it really teaches you about what all the Flask, it really teaches you about what roots do and everything. If you want to learn Flask, go and find Miguel Grimberg. He's, in my opinion, he's got the best Flask free tutorial. I know it's old now, but I think he redid it for Flask 2.0. It's building a blog, and I really don't like those sorts of projects because it's just like, who cares about building a blog? If you want a blog, just go and get WordPress. Like, but it really does teach you all the basics, and you just stick with it. It's great, and he's just done a Flask API as well, which is fantastic. So check that out. Django is bloated. Depends. It's got lots of stuff in it, but you know, depends what you want to. It depends what you want to do. Do you want to write everything yourself so it's streamlined, or do you just want to get something up to show your client and say, "Hey, this is what we got"? Because it will do all the auth for you. He just did a React course as well. Yeah, I know. Like I was really quite excited about that, and then I remembered I don't like JavaScript and I don't like React. Maybe I'll go through it at some point, but I'm still in my spare time. I'm still doing Go, so I definitely back end for me. Don't worry. Yeah, Django. If you anything you can think of, someone's already done it, so you just have to install the package, which is what I like about it. I know, like for a lot of the ones that I do, it's probably totally overkill. Fast API, yeah, I liked Fast API. I got quite caught up in the hype at the start. I'm just a bit wary of less battle tested frameworks, I suppose. Also frameworks where it's run by one guy. Not that he's a bad person, but just because it's just one guy. I know he's got extra contributors and stuff. I have used Fast API. I used it for one of my personal projects, just because it was so easy. What I care about is the ones that return the most job listings. That's fair enough. Probably Django. Or JavaScript. Any JavaScript. React is probably the right one. Why Go? Because it's so different to Python. And it's different, and it's people say it's easy to learn. It's not easy if you've never done programming before, obviously, but if you have, it's quite it's not like Rust where you have to learn all this other stuff. I just like the fact that it's, you know, this is how you do it, this is what you do, and I quite like that in a way. You recommend other YouTubers that talk about scraping? I don't know if it's kind of ignorant, but I don't really watch anyone else that does what, and it's that what like and does this, that does the same content really, which is really odd. But you know, if you've ever watched other streamers and stuff like that, and people would, you know, I'll occasionally ask them. Well, I don't play games anymore. I still watch quite a lot of Twitch. So I find it quite few people that I quite good sort of background enjoyment, and they're like, I don't really watch anyone else, so I'm just kind of doing. Is there any benefit to Collie that Scrapey doesn't offer? Not that I've noticed. Main bottleneck is usually, yeah. I haven't really put Collie to the test, to be honest. There's just a few things here and there. I do like the way it kind of works though. But it feels a little bit, I think probably because you have to write more, but it feels a little bit less, feels scrapey if you don't really know what you're doing. It can feel quite challenging, I think. That's what put people off. That's why the scrapey video was my best one for ages, because, you know, I sort of tried my best to break it down to people that hadn't really used it but knew a little bit, and it kind of fitted in right there. It was really cool actually. A little while ago, the guy who made Scrapey reached out to me on Twitter and said that he liked my videos about it, and I thought that was pretty cool. Who else is coding whilst listening? Oh well, I'm definitely not coding. I was going to. I was going to. I haven't done enough. I always say when people ask me, it's like, oh, I'm trying to learn code. I always say just like try and write something every day, and eventually it's a slow process. It'll come to you, and then I don't abide by my own advice. Do as I say, not as I do, type thing. You've had COVID? Oh Jesus, hope you're all right. I had COVID over Christmas last year. That was fantastic. Although I think I had the Leicester variant. I don't know where you're from, peaceful guy. In the UK, was it Omicron? Anyway, I felt like crap for a few days, but it was right over Christmas, so I literally spent Christmas Day by myself. Don't tell my family and my girlfriend, but it was brilliant. I literally just ate a load of shit and watched um, like a load of car videos on YouTube. Oh, Martin, the guitars in the background. Oh, yeah. I've got Ibanez RG Prestige, the cheap PRS, and that's Ibanez 8-string. Oh, you can't really see because the chat's in the way. They're over there anyway. I also have an acoustic, which is over here, and a really cheap bass for when I decided I wanted to record for a bit. What kind of music do I play? I listen to almost exclusively like modern metalcore, I suppose. So I grew up with like Linkin Park and stuff like that, so I kind of just went from there. I don't really play guitar anymore, to be honest. I still like it, but they're more of ornaments now, to be honest. But I did actually go to music college and did a guitar performance for a year when I was younger. That was great. Great laugh. Why isn't there any good free Python hosting services? Heroku? Python Anywhere? I've used both of those to reasonable success. The only thing I don't like about those is that when you want to actually get out of the free tier, it comes a bit more expensive than doing it yourself with like DigitalOcean or Linode. And if you actually if you want to get anywhere and if you want to become a developer and work in the industry, you have to learn Linux anyway. So you might as well. You don't have to run Linux, but you need to know or Unix commands, should I say. You can use Mac as well. I don't use Windows at all anymore. So. You take any meds? Just paracetamol and ibuprofen, like they were literally going out of business. I was chugging it literally as much as I could take for like 3 days. Oh, I got sidetracked to talk about something else. Oh yeah, right. Upcoming videos. Let's see, how much do I want to share? How much do I want to give away? You're stuck to Azure. I don't actually use Azure. Please more videos on Linux deployments. I'd love to, but honestly, I have to follow. I don't remember it, or I have to follow guides to do it myself. Because I've got like a few saved somewhere, and I just follow them through, and whichever ones work. Just because I don't do it enough to do anything. I wanted to install Linux. I'm afraid to mess it up. Mess what up? The rest of your computer or the rest of your like Windows install? I dual booted for a while. In fact, I've still got Windows installed on it. I never go on there. I just kept it because I used to play games with my mates on Friday nights, but I can't play games anymore. I just don't enjoy it. So I'll have to use Windows for some of my day job. You can although you can use like what's it called, LibreOffice, and you've got the online versions for word processing, which is fine, but it's the actual Excel, because obviously all the data we share in companies on Excel, and you can work in LibreOffice Calculator or Calc or whatever it's called, but it's just nowhere near Microsoft Excel. So every now and again I have to do that. Just a pain. Which Linux version are you using? I just used Ubuntu, but I have installed i3WM. Let me show you. See, I can't live without a tiling window manager anymore. I just have to. I'm so used to it. It's just like being able to move all the windows around, all that stuff. It's so. I have to use this now. I can't do anything else. I'm so used to it. cutting down the time of creating scraping projects. Yeah, I hacked together. I had like a template kind of project that I sort of I had on my GitHub privately for a while. I don't really want to release it though because it's such a mess. But basically, it's like what I've done, what I do with web apps as well. Build it up to a sort of a ground point and then just save it and then just come back to it. That's mainly what I would do. Rest of your computer and files. No, probably not because well, yes, you can. If you want to give it a go, just go and download one and use a live USB boot thing. Give it a go. Part of learning something new is to break everything and then have to do it over and over again. I know that one well. I know that one well. Windows can read most of Windows. Yeah, it can. Yeah. Although there's this funny thing where unless if your Windows doesn't shut down properly or something, because I've got some of my hard drives are still in NTFS. I don't want to change them because it's got loads of stuff on there. I can't be bothered to do it. But if I go into Windows and I don't, if I restart or something like that, I can't write to it because it gets hogged by Windows partition, which is just so annoying. You have to free it up. I really thought about moving to Mac, but I just can't because it would be so much better for content creation just because of like Linux is not that great when it comes to video and audio. I have to do quite a lot of workarounds to get mine like this, which is a pain. Which is also why I don't want to move off of my Ubuntu now that I've got it all set up. And editing on Windows, editing on Linux as well is not great. I don't like any of the free sort of Linux video editors. I use DaVinci Resolve, and you have to do a few hoops to get it to run on Ubuntu, and you can't use MP4 files. You have to convert them to MOV files, which is very annoying. So I end up with like huge files that I have to work with. Anyway, boring story. Do I have a job beside creating content? Yes, I do. I work for a e-commerce company. I do systems for them. So although I'm not a developer, although I'm not like actually a developer, I work with our clients or developers a lot, and I write a lot of Python to help myself with systems. So like API access, etc. Yeah, that's why I got a Raspberry Pi for that sort of thing. And I was thinking about this the other day actually because I was going to do a video on it. I might still do. I'm not sure is the answer because although you have to lay out a little bit more and you've got it and you've got control over it. It is limited because as good as they are, they're not that good. I don't know whether it's worth it or whether you just subscribe to a drop-down DigitalOcean or Linode, and it costs you $5 a month. Or I think there's one even less now that costs you $4 a month, and it's all set up and run for you, and you can just run anything you want on there. I've got like I don't know how many scripts just run on one of my DigitalOcean droplets. They're all on cron. They just run all the time. So I could have done that on my Raspberry Pi, but in fact, it's down here. There it is. Unplugged. I was actually using it for the first time the other day for that project I was telling you about, where I was using it to run a web server that had a playwright on it as a service, but it's not even plugged in at the moment. Oh, this is a 4 as well. That one. Yeah, my camera won't focus on autofocus. I have a Lumix camera, it does the autofocus, doesn't do anything. And this is the one that just overheats, and it overheats a lot. Which is great. You have to get like one of those special cooling cases, and I couldn't be bothered. No beer today. No beer today. Unfortunately not. Yeah, I didn't. Do you know, I couldn't watch those Linus videos on Linux. I could. It was just too cringy. I don't know. I felt it made me feel really uncomfortable. It was just like, for someone who's like so prevalent in the tech industry that couldn't figure out those sorts of things. Not everything, obviously. Couldn't just figure out, you know, like basic. What do I do when it shows me this type thing? I think they were doing it for entertainment, which is fine. I get that, but it's still, it's the point of what you're making is true. Gaming and streaming from Linux is a mess. People say that it's getting better and it's going to get good, and maybe it will, but even now, it's night and day. It's just no point. It's just no point. I did it. I played a few games before, on Linux, but I just don't see the point. Streaming seems to be working for me, but I wonder if I don't actually know, like there's like the Twitch people on Twitch that stream, whether they have a separate streaming PC with Windows or not. Seems to work alright for me though. Recording works okay as well. Then I've got my microphone is XLR. I've got a separate I've got Focusrite Scarlett Solo, so it's like a external sound card. Feel like I'm doing it from an average person perspective. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I just don't remember being like that when I was like delving into Linux and not knowing what I was doing. And I was doing it when it was like you had to actually following a guide to get my Debian install set up. The net install, making sure I had all the sound card drivers installed and everything, and then stuff didn't work. And nowadays you just install it and everything works pretty much, unless you want to do Arch, in which case, well, you've got to be a certain type of person for that. I just want my machine to work for me, which is why I was considering Apple, but I don't think I can do it. Oops. XPath or CSS? I use CSS selectors, but I think XPath is equally, if not better. I'm just so used to CSS selectors now. That's all I'm just so used to. Even when I use Beautiful Soup, I do soup.select. Select and select one. Like that. Select one. That's what I do. I don't use the soup selectors. I never really got on with them, to be honest. As soon as I worked out the CSS selectors, that's what I use. And also they're in Scrapey as well. Although you can use XPath as well, Scrapey. I'm going to do a video on HTML parsers. Because obviously Beautiful Soup is the main one, but there's another couple that I found which I thought looked quite cool. One of them is made by the people that do Scrapey, so it's the same kind of like what is it called, like this, and then you put your selector in here. I know you can't see what I'm typing yet, you'll just have to go with it, and you can kind of do that. Text. Like that. I can't remember what it's called. Let me find it. Hang on. This. Parcel. Seems to have been at least maintained. Oh, this is quite interesting. So I'm gonna have a look at this and I'll do a couple of demos. Sort of comparing it. I don't think anyone's gonna suddenly change and go, oh wow, now everyone's gonna use this. But it's always interesting to check out the options. I've missed some stuff. Hang on. Is it easy to find or make money? Yes, with Python. It's one of the better ones. Python's it's like second most popular language now behind JavaScript. The easiest one to get a job with is JavaScript and learn React because but after that Python, yeah, absolutely. It's just not an overnight thing, you see. That's the issue. You have to really put in the effort, learn as much as you can, build stuff, create stuff. Then you have to get your portfolio together, then you have to get interview ready. TF2SA. Thanks, man. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate Joel dropping by. To catch up, request and beautiful or request HTML. I used to use request HTML all the time. I'm using it less and less now. I'm going for requests and BS4 more often now. Not really sure any reason. Both basically built around the same thing. So, hey Andres, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you decided to come in. If you're still here, I didn't miss your question. I'm glad you managed to build something watching my videos. That's really appreciated. XPath is useful if you're doing complicated. Yeah. XPath is more flexible. I don't really find I have an issue just using CSS selectors. Do you have any thoughts on PyScript? You know, the whole PyScript thing just blew by me, really. That's how good a content creator I am. A new and exciting thing came out and I didn't even look at it or create a video about it, so I've way missed the hype train now. I reckon it's going to be a fun thing, but it will absolutely not replace front end at all, ever. In most cases. For some people, but you know, even on their website it says not production. But I think it's a really cool concept. I've just not looked at it yet, and I can't comment on something. I don't want to comment on something that I don't totally understand or haven't at least used and tried, because otherwise, you know, what's the point? Can we use multiprocessing or multi-threading in Scrapey? Scrapey is built on the Twisted framework, which is inherently asynchronous or something anyway, I believe. So you don't need to worry about it, I think. Sally Cakes. Cool name. Thanks for watching the videos. Do you have to learn Python or other material? Or do you need to study to be like me? Don't be like me. Be better. Python, then API stuff, so HTTP, all that crap. JavaScript helps a bit to understand how websites work, but basically just you want to know, you don't need to know JavaScript, but you just need to know how front ends, websites, back end are made, how they connect to each other, so you can understand what you're actually looking at. But you should be good if you if you learn Python, once you've got a good understanding of Python, go through Scrapey, you should be fine. Evil Dane, if you're still here, thank you very much. If you've gone already, anyway, thank you anyway. Twisted, yes. How to use connected cookies of browser to pass login page in Python. You can, if you load up a Playwright browser or a Selenium one, you can log in and then you can pull the cookies and the session stuff from there, and you can pass that into your request session and it should keep you logged in. Have you tried PyPy over the CPython interpreter? I have no. I didn't know there was such a thing. I never really thought about it. So no, sorry. Most of my team are data scientists. I'm the only person who's good with JS, so PyScript would be good for us. Yes, that is probably going to be a really good use case. Really good use case for that. Htmx already. I didn't go too deep into Htmx, so I thought it looked pretty good though. You can just like move stuff, replace stuff. Oh, that was pretty cool. Basically, for my use cases, it's basically just having a call to a backend API from the front, just so you can stick stuff on the page dynamically. I don't go much further in than that, but yeah, so HTMX would be pretty cool for that. What I do tend to use more often now is like those JavaScript libraries that are just create a nice table for you. That's so easy. It's called Grid. This again, Miguel Grimberg put me onto this. Not personally, obviously. He had a thingy about it. Grid.js, and you just create a API endpoint that spits out the data that you want, and then you have your HTML page with this Grid.js on it from the CDN, and it just creates a nice table for you, which is brilliant. Do you recommend any books or Python scripting? No, I can't, because I think that there's only a few that I know. I think they're quite old now. So it's just, I don't think it's going to be that relevant. I could be wrong. I haven't read them, so I don't know specifically. Flask tables. There you go. You obviously read the same things that I have. What you want to try for getting the captures is, have you tried the Selenium Stealth? There's a whole article about the telltale signs that Selenium sends to let it know that it is actually a real browser, and if you can remove some of them, sometimes it might work. Is it called Selenium Stealth Selenium? Yeah. That he is. He's not overly enigmatic and energetic, but he sure knows his stuff, and he's got a very good way of teaching it. This comes back to my point where and obviously he puts it out for free as well as paid, which I think is really, really great of him. Because the option's there. Well, I was going to do some some coding on this chat, on this where's my thing? That's what I was looking at earlier. That's my video ideas. You had a glimpse. I was going to do some, but I don't think I'm going to now because it's already midnight here. So I think I'm going to knock it on the head there. It's been a good hour and 7 minutes. Thank you to everybody for hanging out. Appreciate it. It's always good to have come and have a nice chat and talk with some people, some new faces, some people that I've spoken to before in my extremely short streaming career. And as every time that I do this, I will of course promise that I will do more. And it might be, you know, I'll aim for 1 a week and then I'll do 1 every 2 months. Maybe in the future, if I get my arse in gear, I can get my myself sorted out so I can have more free time. Get my drift. I'll definitely do this more because I do enjoy it. So yeah, thanks very much everyone for coming and hanging out. Really appreciate it. So super duper. I'm going to go now, and hopefully you will watch and enjoy my videos because that's just the main thing. Thanks. See you later.